So, me and Jack decided we're gonna do a little Raps Cavs post game one special. Let us know how you like the mini specials, and yeah,
Might be a new feature.
might be a new feature. If something neat happens, we'll just do a brief little discussion rather than have a big long discussion about everything.
Yeah.
Cavs won in overtime, 113-112. Crazy game.
It was a thrilling game.
I was jumping around, yelling, freaking out.
Yeah, I gotta be honest, I was flipping back and forth between a few things, but at the end I was like, damn, I gotta watch this game.
I was locked all day.
Yeah.
If that's the game the Raps need to have, I think. Game one was the one.
I agree with that 100%. They needed game one.
They needed it.
They needed
blood, bro.
They needed both at home.
Yeah, I told you, I think we talked about it earlier, you said they need both at home, and I told you LeBron isn't losing two on the road.
Yeah.
And he got some help today. He got some help with
you got Jeff Green with 15, JR had 19, Korver had 17.
JR had 20.
Yeah, JR had 20.
That was the first Cavaliers teammate of LeBron's this whole playoffs to score 20 points in a game.
And he had 5 threes, I believe.
5 for 6.
Yeah.
He was money.
That's big.
And they were open, though. That's the best part. Watching that game, when I can, JR takes a lot of crazy shots. If you watch him, you'd know. But, man, when I watch him stare one down when it's open, I love it. Same with Kyle. When I see Kyle Korver open on the perimeter, ooh, it's exciting. It's exciting.
Every time I see Korver shoot and it goes up, I'm like, damn! If I'm cheering for the Raptors, I'm like, please miss, just because, he doesn't miss. But, when it's JR and it's wide open, I'm like, oh, that's fine, he'll miss. But when it's contested and they're on it, I'm like, damn, he's going to hit it.
He was on today. LeBron wasn't, though. LeBron was 1 for 6 from deep. But
he had 26.
The one he hit was huge. And
he went when he went 1 for...
1 for 6.
Yeah, that's
from deep.
Yeah.
But the one he hit was late in the fourth, and as soon as it went up, I knew it was money. I could just see it. I knew he was due. It'd been a second. I thought OG did a pretty good job on him. As good as a rookie could have done.
Yeah, but not as good as Iguodala in the finals.
When he was averaging 40, 20, and 10. Yeah, I mean the narrative that OG's this LeBron stopper and that always locked in, he's not scared. I don't care. It doesn't you can't stop him, and it doesn't matter if you're scared or not.
So the game for the most part, first half, I'd say all the way to the end of the third quarter, it was
the Raptors dominated.
Yeah, it was a good game, and then the fourth kind of hit, and 6 minutes in, it was kind of even a few points the Raps had because Cleveland never actually did lead during the regulation time.
That's actually a fun little fact. If Schmuck was here, it'd be Schmuck's stat of the day. That's the second time in playoff history that a team has lost the game while never trailing it in regulation. The Raptors were never down in regulation and they still lost. That's gotta be heartbreaking.
And down the stretch, it was just the Raptors' offense. I tweeted this. It was just stagnant. They went 0 for 11 in the last 6 minutes from the field.
They had looks too.
And here's the one thing: Valanciunas, he had a 20-20 game, 20-20 plus, 20 points, 20 rebounds, and he was still their worst player.
No, come on!
The amount of layups this guy missed down the stretch.
On.
Oh my God, is he bad?
Valanciunas is the only reason you guys were in that game in the fourth. That guy played really well.
You can make an argument both ways.
And he missed a couple tips at the end.
He missed a lot of layups though.
So did DeMar. DeMar missed that DeMar tip in off of the missed Fred 3.
Yeah.
That lipped out. My heart sunk in my chest a little bit when that went up. But
how about that fade from LeBron when he over OG? At the end of the game. Oh fuck! I couldn't believe he hit that.
My God, I could. That's the thing. People want to talk about him.
Couldn't believe it.
Everyone's
he faded so far back.
Everyone's he's not a killer. He's not Jordan. He's not Kobe. Bro, as soon as you started posting up, I'm like, he's shooting this and it's going in.
I knew he was gonna shoot it, but when I saw him fade away, I was like, he probably hit it. But then he went way back.
Yeah.
And I was like, and it went. And
at the end of regulation, he had a chance with .8 left.
That was got it off too.
Yeah.
And it looked good. A little short. Little left, little short.
That's a tough shot though.
Yeah.
And then Fred.
It was an entertaining game, coming down to the end of regulation. It was kind of good. Yeah, and then Fred.
It's crazy atmosphere, especially for a game 1 and round 2. This is going to be the best series in this round.
They got all of Canada behind them, man.
And that's the thing. You were a very big advocate early in our in our podcasting days for Fred for being most improved in that.
Still am.
Or even sixth man, man. Like the dude's had a great season. But I've said all year, I think DeLon is a better playoff player than Fred is. Not because he's a better player, just like his intangibles,
He's better defensively.
his length,
Yeah.
just the type of player he is. I like better than I like Fred, just for sheer basketball reasons. But Fred's just got a grit to him. Like, he's just something about him. He had a few layups where he just looked like a better player than the guy who was guarding him. And I guess he was, right? Like, he's just better than Jordan Clarkson, which at some point I'm going to come to terms with. But
Yeah.
I don't think he can depend. Like, I don't think they subbed him in late in the game to take the shot.
Which is kind of awesome. Like
It's kind of awesome, but
in
it's
the
also
moment-
like Fred VanVleet to beat LeBron James in a playoff series. If I'm a Raptors fan, I do not want that. As much as I love Fred, like he's
Oh yeah.
not LeBron.
Like, I think we both agree. Like, you gotta cheer for Fred just because it's kind of funny at this point. Like,
It's great.
Yeah,
And he's
it's
like
awesome.
he's actually good.
I was watching this some American like broadcasts and whatnot, like shows like First Take and whatever. And it was funny at first how Van Vliet was just a big thing with TSN and Leo Routens and all these
Yeah.
guys. But like, I started hearing American media talk about Fred Van Vliet and how people were hearing Kyle Lowry's like, yeah, Fred Van Vliet makes us go. And
It's
like,
a difference maker.
and people are talking about that, and I'm like, man, Fred Van Vliet's a great role player. Don't get me wrong. But you shouldn't be relying on him in a second round series.
And that's my point. Like I think the fact that when DeMar made that, like, great pass by DeMar when he drove baseline, and I thought he got cut off, and I was like, great defensive stop.
I thought he was gonna force that up.
And somehow it got kicked out, and Fred was just there. I was like, I wasn't like, thank God that's Fred, but I'm like, I'm really glad that's not somebody else. You know?
Yeah. I don't know, but like, who else, if you're the Raptors, who else would you rather have there? CJ Miles, who's been consistently inconsistent this
Very
year?
streaky. I'm not a big fan of CJ, but the Raptors fans tend to like him, and I can see why. Like, he hit some big shots, but I think he takes far too many threes.
And he shoots it so quick, like
He shot-
almost too quick.
He shot a really
just gotta chill.
he had a really big shot against Rodney Hood, actually, on the inbounds, where, yeah, exactly, you just kind of caught it and shot it, and I was like, what is this guy doing? And when it goes in, it looks fine, but when
Like,
it doesn't, it just seems so rushed. You're
I
right.
get the quick release, but even when he's wide open, they kick it to him and it is gone. I'm just like, just line it up. Like, go on.
Yeah, I don't remember him being like that in Indiana,
No.
in places like prior to Toronto.
But I remember when
it's just
Toronto
his
brought him
role.
in, though.
It's just his role, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that was the big thing with Toronto. They got to get a shooter who they thought DeMar Carroll was going to be. So
Wow, we do
and he
not
wasn't.
need to go down that lane.
Yeah, and then so they bring in CJ, and like CJ knew that was his role coming in, and he kind of, I don't know if that changed his mindset or what it was.
It seemed like it did. Like, I don't know. He only shot the ball 3 times that game. He had 2 threes. You know, he was 2 for 3.
And that's the thing. He's either 1 for 8 or like 2 for 4. Like,
Yeah.
there's no like.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. Valanciunas is a big part in that. You said 21-21. Like, that's a big night. DeRozan had 22. Kyle Lowry even, like, compared to how Kyle Lowry usually plays in the
his
playoffs.
M1 layup coming down the stretch, that was huge. Oh no, that was in overtime.
Yeah,
That was big.
It was to
That
get him
getting
back
away.
in it. Yeah,
Because Cleveland was up 4 at that point, and Lowry hits
Lowry
up,
gave him the weird little
Yeah.
got into him and out.
Because when Cleveland went up 4, I remember thinking, "Oh my God, here we go again! Like it's over," and I was kind of just disengaged. And then Lowry made the N1, and I was like, "Okay, like we'll see what happens." And you could feel the excitement in the building, kind of like there again, because I feel like it was kind of like,
Well, that's what happens in overtimes, right? Like, a run will kill you, and that was a big run stopper. Like, it was a big play.
well, exactly right, because a run is like anywhere like from 0 to 5 minutes,
Yeah,
and overtime's 5 minutes. So if
Exactly.
somebody makes a run, it's done.
yeah.
You hit on it 100% there.
Yeah, I just like looking forward into future games. I heard it was actually you. We were talking about it earlier, where you were like, "Well, Jeff Green's not going to have that kind of game. JR's not going to score 20 every night, and Kyle Korver's not going to have that kind of game." I think if you make Kyle Korver an integral part of your offense, he can be your third guy. And
There's no streak in him. If he's getting shots, he's gonna hit them.
exactly.
Yeah, I agree there. Yeah.
And those sets they were running where they just started Kevin Love and JR on the far wing, and they have so many variations off that play where if they overcommit to Kyle, you got Kevin rolling or you got JR popping to the corner, and LeBron's a smart enough player to understand where the ball's got to be. If they can, like, I'd run that set into the floor if I were them. But my big thing is Kevin Love's. Everyone's out on him already after 8 games. They're just calling it quits.
Yeah.
We gotta remember the guy's coming off an injury, and he never played with this group of guys. Like, he never played with these teammates he has right now. until like 3 games before the playoffs.
It's been a season kind of just full of hardships for most of them, but especially him.
It's been so much overhaul, yeah. Like Kevin Love hasn't played with George Hill or Rodney Hood or Jordan Clarkson or Larry Nance before like practically the start of the playoffs, right? And I think he's gonna. I still trust him so much. Like when I see him catch and shoot, I still feel confident, and I just hope he doesn't lose that confidence. And I think
it is a confidence thing.
And as much as it's not up to other players to get that going, I think LeBron can instill that in him by keep giving him the ball like early in games, especially. I think Game 3 is going to be a big game for Kevin Love, especially if they go back to Cleveland 1-1. If I'm picking a game, Kevin Love's got that because that's when it's time to bounce back. That's when it's time to start get rolling. And I think another huge thing for Cleveland is Tristan Thompson's back.
Yeah.
Like, where did that come from?
I don't know.
The dude didn't play all year.
Yeah, it's been a pleasant surprise. And I want to touch on Kevin Love. Obviously, he's no scrub. He's a multiple-time All-Star.
He's an All-Star.
He's going to find it, right?
Yeah.
And then for Cleveland, I've heard the argument multiple different places. Like, if LeBron gets anything from anyone, they're probably... Like, I know that seems really bad, but if he gets anything from anyone, he's got a good chance of winning. And when you're getting 15 plus from 3 guys on your team and you're doing all right, like especially JR.
Isn't that kind of hilarious to think?
It's hilarious.
If he gets 45 out of the next 3 guys, that's awesome. Like, that's kind of...
Yeah. And the thing is,
kind of hilarious.
The way I see it, so if you have Korver, Smith, and Love, right? If you got 2 of those guys scoring 15 plus, I think you have a real chance, especially if they're shooting it well from the perimeter. But if Love and Smith and Korver, if they're not going and they're missing perimeter shots, that's going to be big. But I don't see a scenario where they don't have at least 2 of the 3 of them going. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, but between Jeff and Kyle and JR
and Jeff's another guy to throw in there, I guess.
I mean, Jeff is not going to give it. Jeff Green's not going to give it to you every night. He's just not. Yeah. But every 5th night, he's going to give you a game. You know, every 4th night, he's going to give you a game. I just think with those 3 guys, with Kevin Love, and now with Tristan Thompson scoring good games,
yeah,
it's I think one of them's going to be going, like you said. And I think with LeBron, being LeBron, like as much as it's super weird to say, 26, 13, and 11. Pretty pedestrian night for LeBron James after
in these playoffs, especially like as far as first round.
So to come out with a win, like if you would have told me LeBron gets 26, 13, and 11,
and they win in overtime.
Well, and just say that's what he gets. I don't know if I'm confident that they win game 1. You know?
And 26 is a pedestrian game in a regulation game. Overtime, which we everybody knows he's playing all 5 minutes.
Oh yeah.
For him to have 26 in an overtime game, that's. Like, I mean, he's still in a triple-double, but you'd think he'd have 30 plus. Like, if you were going to bet on that, right?
Yeah, and that's why it's huge to get those other guys to step up. He talks about being tired, you know? And it's weird to say that an overtime game was a bit of a relaxing game for him, but it didn't seem like he was dragging his team through the mud like it did in the Indiana series. No. It kind of seemed like he was being that point guard, see everything roll, you know, playing some defense, locking some guys down, doing what he had to do. And I think I don't know if we've touched on a bunch through all of our podcasts, but like Cleveland's defense is always the big question. We know they can score. It's always the defense. This playoffs, it's been completely switched. Cleveland's defense looks okay.
Yeah.
It's their offense that is having such a problem. That's why I feel so confident in them going to the finals, is because if they can keep this defense locked in, that offense will come. Like, it just will.
Yeah. And speaking of defense, the one thing the Raptors do have going for them is they've been a top 5 defense, top 5 offense team all year.
Only team to be, like, consistently there all year, too.
Which is good. And I think it did take a lot for Cleveland to be in that game, and I think really the Raptors kind of choked that game away. And for the Raptors, I think in this series especially, their offense is their best defense, because if you can get up the floor and do whatever and run all these guys that they have been doing, which people didn't know if they were going to do because if they're going to tighten up their rotation, but if they can get guys going and whatever and just outscore the Cavs, I think that's a real possibility. Like, you're not going to stop LeBron, but I think they can outscore the Cavs.
I think they could have, when the Cavs, as they are right now, kind of struggling offensively. I think if they start clicking, like if it's just going to be a shootout, I don't know if Toronto has those guns, because LeBron can. We've seen him play. He played 46 minutes, you know. With the way that they're, like you talked about the bench mob and the way they rolled 10 guys, and I wasn't sure if they were going to do it, kind of thing, and they have done it.
Yeah.
And
At least 10.
Yeah, and the way Cleveland is kind of counteracting that, I don't know if it was on purpose. Like, I don't want to give Ty Lue too much credit if he did do this by accident, but it definitely seemed like an on purpose thing. LeBron was playing the first half of all the games in playoffs, like just all of it.
Yeah.
In the first quarter, he came out, and everyone was super confused why he came out. He came out 3 minutes left in the first quarter.
Yeah.
And even me, I was kind of like, I don't know about that. You're down 15. You know, like, I think you should probably play him.
Yeah.
But what they did, and then he sat the start of the second a little bit, so it gave him that extended period of rest, and then he came out against the bench, and they gave fresh LeBron
a chance against the Raptors bench.
Which,
do you think that was strategic on Ty Lue's part, or was that just?
I think it was.
Was it a coincidence?
I think it was, and I think that's the way you got to do it, right? Because that bench is all about playing sound defensively and then getting stops,
throw a punch,
getting stops and coming back, right? And I think when you get arrested LeBron coming off the bench against a unit that's all about defense and all about, you know, getting out in transition and dictating the pace, there's no guy in the league that dictates pace better than LeBron James. So for him to come out and control the game and not give it back to the Raptors, I think is a smart thing, and I'd like to see how they utilize that going forward.
Yeah, that's an interesting point you make, because I like, you hear a lot about this psychological whammy, if you will, whatever.
I was gonna close with that.
and the thing is, like, that's an interesting point you make about, I didn't actually realize that he was in. So when you got your bench guys and then they're sent in to throw a punch kind of thing, like build the leads, because that's what the Raps bench has done all year kind of thing.
And LeBron's there to take the punch.
They see LeBron at the scores table checking in. It's like that's got to be a psychological whammy, does it not?
Yeah, and I think a lot of people have put a lot of capital into that LeBron's living in the Raptors' heads, and usually I'm not really one for, like, I think they're all professionals. I think they all know how to handle their business.
Yeah.
But I think there's something to be said about LeBron James kind of owning the Raptors, and I think and I've mentioned this. I don't think I've mentioned it on the podcast before, but the thing that makes certain players great, it's mental, right? It's the fact that when Russell Westbrook goes into any opponent's barn, he looks at their best player and thinks to himself, "I'm better than that guy." Like, if Russ is playing LeBron James, Russ thinks he's better than LeBron, right? Where LeBron goes and plays anybody in the league, LeBron thinks, I'm better than them.
Yeah.
I don't think DeMar DeRozan looks across the court and sees LeBron James and says, I'm better than LeBron. No. I don't think he thinks that. And we saw that last year when he said, after the series, he said, yeah, we would have won too if we had LeBron James. Right?
That's a weird thing to say.
It's a super weird thing to say. And I think that kind of shows how much he's in DeRozan's head a little bit. And not like he's trying to be. It's just like, it's got to be so taxing every year being the best team in the regular season, putting together these historic numbers that not many teams, never mind your franchise, has ever done. Like, you're setting new heights. You're setting new bars for the city of Toronto in basketball.
Yeah.
And to just run into this guy
it seems
every year. It's got to be tough.
It's a never-ending cycle kind of thing, and it's like, oh my God, same old story every year. And you want to
it seemed different this year.
Yeah, it did.
But it doesn't now.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
And you want to talk about post-game kind of comments, like with DeRozan last year. I actually heard Valanciunas today say that he's like, oh, like, we still think we're better than him. Like, we don't think they're better than them. We don't think they're way, way better than us. Like, and I was kind of like, you're the 1 seed. Like, why are you saying that? What do you mean?
Yeah.
You lost at home in overtime, and then what you say to the media is, oh, we think we have a chance. We don't think they're way, way better than us. Like, I was caught off guard by that, and I was.
They're a 4 seed.
It's just
and
weird.
you look and you take LeBron and you put any other player in the league on that team. It's like, yeah, the Raptors are better than them. The Raptors are the Raptors have a substantially better roster than the Cavs. Like, enormously.
They're a better team, right?
That's what I agree
with that.
Top to bottom.
Yeah,
their roster is out of this world better.
No doubt.
And the fact that Toronto is still kind of like, yeah, I think we got a shot against these guys, is just, that's where it comes from. And I think that's where the whole, like, you want to talk about mental edge, I think that's where it is. That's what it is.
So I think it's fair to say part of the Raptors' biggest problem, like, they just need to believe a bit more than anything, right? Like, if you're going to change anything, it's more mental than game planning. Like, it just seems that way to me.
But at the same time, like, I don't think it's their fault that they feel that way. Like, I think that's just the way it is.
I mean, is it fair? It's kind of fair to say that the whole East feels like LeBron has a mental edge over them because he's owned them for the past 7 years.
Yeah, and that's the thing that makes the Sixers a little bit special. I don't know if the Sixers really think that the Cavs are better than them.
Because it's a new era. It's a new wave.
That's
right?
why I'm scared of the Sixers,
Yeah.
is that Ben Simmons is probably like, yeah.
I never thought about it that way, but that's a great point.
That's why I'm a bit scared. And a guy like Marcus Smart or Marcus Morris on the Boston Celtics, those guys both look at LeBron and like, I can take him, you know? That's why those two teams scare me a little bit. And the Raptors should scare me. And they kind of do, just because on paper, the Raptors are way better than the Cavs are.
And the Raps or Cavs are going to get one of those two. Like, that's going to be...
And that's what I mean. This conference finals isn't going to be as much of a
walking or like kind of predictable, I guess.
Exactly, and I think the Raptors have a better chance against those two teams than they do against.
They match
Cleveland.
up better with both of those teams than the Cavs do.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's a matchup thing. It's just a LeBron thing. Like, that's the greatness of this guy. It
No,
just has such an effect on the league.
If
that
you
we
run
think
through
of it
1
that
through
way.
5, though, like, I think the Raps probably match up better.
The Raps are so much bigger than Cleveland, and that's what Jack Armstrong was. We're not going to get into how I felt about Jack Armstrong through the whole game, but he was calling the Cavs soft. Oh, they
Gotta
can't.
love Jack Armstrong.
They can't guard JV. The Cavs are soft, and JV's eating, and he did, right? But
He needed to be better.
he was 21 and 21.
He needed to be better. I know what you're saying.
Jonas
It's horrible
Valanciunas?
to ask for more 20 than 20 and 20.
You're not going to get more out of
But-
Valanciunas. 21 and 21 is unbelievable.
I know. And like, for just putting myself in Dwayne Casey's shoes, to just think, like,
Okay.
I could have used more from JV tonight when he was 20 and 20. That's insane.
So that's the thing. We talked about LeBron only having 26. So if you told me before game 1, LeBron's going to have 26 and JV's going to have 21 points and 21 rebounds. And the Raptors are going to lose at home.
I would have said you're wrong, obviously.
Like, that's why I'm just scared for the Raptors. Like, I'm personally not, but I would be if...
Yeah. Yeah, and the thing, like, for Cleveland, it's just, if they start making perimeter shots,
It's
like
over.
I say,
It's
I've
over,
always
man.
said, it's a make or miss league.
Yeah.
It's a make or miss league, Matty D.
It's yeah, when JR and Corver both hitting, and if Kevin Love can start hitting again, and when LeBron can even get a shot going,
I don't think
which
they need
is
a ball.
scary now.
And
No,
that's the scary thing. They
That's
don't
the
need a
scary
ball.
thing.
They need 2 out of the 4.
And like that's like certain Raptors fans, they'll say, "Oh, you're not going to get that out of those 3 guys. You know, you're not going to get that out of Jeff Green. You're not going to get that out of JR every night. You don't have to, because I think Kevin Love's going to step up. I think all you need is one of them, and LeBron is going to have more than 26 points next game. I promise."
As a Raptors fan, though, you can kind of understand feeling that way. Like, I certainly can.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't necessarily think Jeff Green, like, I think it's in him because we've seen it before, but we've also seen how bad he can look.
Yeah.
And I think we should touch on the Raptors a bit more here, just Canadian content. Like, Lowry has looked pretty good.
He played okay. Like he played pretty good.
He's looked good on both ends. He hasn't been outstanding Kyle Lowry, but he hasn't been bad.
He hasn't been playoff Kyle Lowry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And DeRozan actually hit some big shots coming down the stretch. Like he hit a couple, and then the DeRozan 3 years ago would not have passed that ball back to Van Vliet for the win in overtime.
DeRozan 2 years ago wouldn't have, I don't think.
or even maybe even last year.
That's what I mean.
And I think that is a sense of hope, I guess, for Raptors fans in a way.
But that I was going to touch on that next. Actually, that's a great point you brought up, because he had 22 points that game, which isn't a lot, but for DeMar and Kyle to an extent, they kind of gave the reins over to the bench this year. Like, and it was kind of the whole is going to be greater than the sum of its parts, rather than DeRozan going off for 40. Like, that was kind of their mentality this year.
That was their MO.
Yeah, exactly. I think in the playoffs, you kind of need a guy to just go. Like, I think
That's the traditional way when you think about it.
I think DeMar to just start pounding the ball and just... I'm not saying it's a better style of basketball. I'm just saying it might help them against a team like Cleveland.
Yeah. But for the Raps, like, what's worked for them, right? You got to stay with
Exactly.
what's worked.
I agree.
And that's the problem. I hear this. Actually, I don't hear this. I see this, too. Like, if you watch the Raptors play, they play a good brand of basketball that they've inherited this year, and they kind of spread it around. Everybody shoots it, whatever, inside out kind of deal.
Dwayne Casey should be top 3 coach of the year for that.
Agreed. And then you'll see plays at the end of the game. They'll ISO DeRozan. They'll ISO Lowry.
It wasn't like that this time, though.
It wasn't as much like that, and that's why I brought up the pass to Van Vliet.
Yeah.
But it's just even
and one of the regulation.
it looked like this game had the makings of that, and that's why I kind of like at the end I was like, oh, this is gonna be the same old story. and Van Vliet had a clean look. So
2 of them.
and exactly, make or miss league. Like, you beat it to death. Like, that's what it is. You got to make that shot.
Yeah, but yeah, for sure you do.
Like, that's a big game 1. That's huge.
I don't think it should have came down to that shot. Is what I kind of mean. Like,
no, absolutely. I agree. The Raps should have won that game.
I think it was 33-19 at the end of 1.
Yeah. And for Van Vliet, I think his shoulder's still bothering him because they showed a picture on the bench and he was like icing it up at the end of the game.
I don't think a healthy Fred VanVleet's gonna beat
No,
Cleveland.
I just mean that shot specifically. I don't know, maybe it's because he missed it, they did that, or like maybe it's just, I don't know, whatever, but I don't know if he's at 100%.
Yeah, it could be, but again,
I'm just talking, like, I agree with you, the Raps could have won that before, but I'm just talking explicitly the shot.
For sure. And that's the thing where I just don't know, depending on Fred VanVleet to beat LeBron and the Cavs is a scary proposition in my eyes, you know?
You wanna know what the funniest thing is?
What?
They're both number 23.
Yeah, I know.
It's actually hilarious.
It was actually really funny when after that J.R. Smith 3, LeBron was boxing out because he didn't think he was going to make it. And then Fred kind of hooked his arm.
Oh, yeah.
And LeBron just little brothered him and just threw him aside. And Fred like jumped up and was after him. Like, I just saw the 223s and I was like, man, this is why. Like, this is so bad. Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome. And it's funny though, I saw a tweet and it was like, yeah, don't give the ball to Lowry, don't give the ball to DeMar, give the ball to a guy that's undrafted from Wichita. Raptors fans are hopping on the bandwagon.
I retweeted that actually. I think that's probably what you saw.
Yeah.
But
oh my god, is that funny?
Yeah, Raptors fans game on the line. It's like DeMar, nope. Kyle Lowry, nope. Undrafted, undersized Wichita? Point guard from Wichita State, yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
So okay, so I think we've covered most of it. Last closing thing. Kendrick Perkins Drake beef.
Hey, I mean,
what the hell is that all about?
Go out for the Raptors game, stay for the Drake and Kendrick beef.
Yeah,
no pun intended. Drake and Kendrick.
Yeah, he couldn't get Kendrick Lamar, so he went after Kendrick Perkins.
Kendrick Perkins.
I don't know what to think of that. Like,
it was kind of awesome.
What I heard Kendrick Perkins was talking to Ibaka because they were teammates on that finals team in Oklahoma City.
Oh yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So Kendrick Perkins, I'm pretty sure he said something to Ibaka about, sorry man, you're not getting this one. Like, we got this one. Like, we got you. And Drake said something about his capris being hemmed too short or something. And that's what started it, I guess.
Good one.
Yeah, I don't know. If you're Kendrick Perkins, like,
is it flood season?
Like, yeah, like Drake's cool. Like Drake's awesome and whatever. But like,
and you're Kendrick Perkins.
And Kendrick Perkins isn't cool. But at the same time, if you're Kendrick Perkins, don't pay any mind to a fan, even if it is Drake. You know, like, why are you yelling at Drake right now?
Like, you're Kendrick Perkins in a suit on the bench. Yeah. Just have no relevance to anything that's going on.
He's there for locker room stuff, and that's another cool thing, actually.
And on-court stuff.
Yeah, and I don't want to talk about how Kendrick Perkins has been a difference maker by any means, but he's the first guy off the bench. Him and Chetty have been like huge supporters of this whole season and this whole postseason run, and I think he has been a good locker room guy. Like, I don't want to bash the signing at all, but like, don't yell at Drake. And Drake's gonna heckle. That's what he does. He's been doing it for years since the Raptors have been good. He's been doing it.
Hey, he's Raptors ambassador.
Yeah, exactly. He's global ambassador. If you're Kendrick Perkins, just don't.
Sure.
But as a fan, that shit's funny.
Yeah, actually, the one thing I found really funny is after the game, saw a tweet from a close friend, and it was like, Fred VanVleet let down an entire nation twice because he missed the 1-3 and then he missed the one to win it in OT. And I was like, oh my god.
That poor kid watching at home. He saw Freddie catch
heartbroken.
it. He saw Freddie catch the ball and he wide open. There's no way he wasn't thinking that was going in.
Steady Freddie wasn't so steady last night.
Yeah. I don't know if I draw a play up for Freddie to shoot the last shot.
It wasn't drawn up. DeRozan was in the air.
No, the first one. The first one.
That one, yeah. The last one was just...
The last one, Jeff Green was out a little, like, closing out a little bit at him. But
DeRozan had his mind made up. He was going to the hole, and then he saw he couldn't get there, and he's like, oh, shit.
It was a great pass. It was a great pass.
And it was wide open.
Yeah.
Like, that's a rhythm warm-up shot, but I don't know. That decided the game, ultimately. So
Well, a lot of things decided the game, but...
That one... Yeah, but that was like the knife. That was the knife.
Yeah. Yeah,
I think it's going to be a good series, man.
Okay, yeah, let's get a prediction before we close it out.
I was gonna say Raps in 6 before the series started, but after seeing this, I'm gonna go Raps in 7. Just because they lost the one.
Yeah, like Cavs in 5, I think. Actually, like
no, I feel confident in my Raps in 7.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I don't know. I don't want to like last time I said Cavs in 3 and it went to 7. Like, I get how it can definitely turn on a dime here, and injuries, blah blah blah, whatever. Anything can happen, but it's just like the way LeBron plays the Cavs gives me so much hope. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the Raptors will take game 2. And Cleveland will be up 3-1 going back to Toronto for game 5.
Yeah. We will see. We need a rejuvenated Freddie.
Yeah, Fred's got to get some cortisone shots in his shoulder or something.
Freddie needs some icy hots.
Yeah, Shaq can hook him up with some icy hots probably, can he?
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, that ran a little longer than expected, but I think we broke it down pretty good. Yeah, so we did a result pod of the first round, kind of our
little post reaction.
Yeah, reaction breakdown to each series and everything. Jack's leaving for Minneapolis.
Minneapolis, yeah.
Which is in Minnesota. On Friday, so we'll get that pod up before then for sure. But this will be going up.
This is an emergency. You gotta hear this before game 2.
This will be going up pretty quick here. So once again, thanks for listening, 2 Peas in a Pod listeners. And
hey, I'm Jack.
That's Jack. I'm Dylan. Yeah, we're 2 Peas in a Pod.
We're 2 Peas in a Pod.
All right, have a good night.